Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to Emily's Playhouse. This is the last episode, sadly, of Emily's Playhouse, but we've got a great show. So I had a very packed weekend week. It's Friday. I had a very packed week this week and last weekend, I guess. So Hell on Heels, my Rocky Horror Picture Show cast, we performed at Tampa Bay Comic-Con on last Saturday, and it was an amazing show. Shout out to everyone who came out. We had to have at least 300 people there because I passed out business cards for our regular show, and our producer said that she printed out like 200 of those, and I ran out like immediately. Like they just kept flooding in. So we had a great show. It was probably the most fun I had ever had performing in Rocky, and it was just electric. I saw the Rocky Horror Picture Show for the first time at Tampa Bay Comic-Con like 2 years ago, so it was kind of coming full circle for me. Now I got to perform in it with my own cast, and it was great. It was a great experience being there with my Rocky family, and it was just great. All good things going forward, so we're super happy. We're moving to Saturday nights, so tomorrow's going to be our first Saturday night show at the Bellagio Cinemas in Carrollwood, 11778 North Dale Mabry Highway. Come check us out every Saturday night, unless otherwise specified. We got a bunch of cool stuff coming up for us. New props we introduced a couple weeks ago, and just all the exciting things going on. What else is going on? Oh, I met Charlie Adler. I talked about him once before on this show, I believe. He's a voice actor. He's also a voice director, which is ultimately what I'd like to do. If I cannot be a voice actor someday, which is, I think it's kind of unpractical, but I mean it can be done. I'd like to be a voice director to tell the voice actors what to do, and that's what he does. He does both. He is a voice actor and a voice director, so he casts people for his shows that he directs and tells them what to do, and he's really great at it. Another one of my favorite voice actors is Rob Paulson. He just started doing that. He was a voice actor, and now he's kind of dipped his feet into directing, and it's really cool. So I met Charlie Adler, and it was great. There was no line because it was early in the morning. I got there early to meet up with my cast and to pass out flyers for our show that night. And so the first thing I did, because before I changed into my Columbia costume to attract business, I went to go see Charlie Adler, and he was really cool. He liked my phone case. I have an Iron Man phone case now, and he told me he wished me luck with this TV productions stuff that I do here at school, my venture into TV productions, and he was just really nice. He's a character. Usually when I see like interviews with him, he has no filter, and he's just great. He was really sweet. He wasn't what I was expecting, but I hope he had a great time at Tampa Bay Comic-Con. It was great. Check out Charlie Adler if you have the opportunity, because he is one of the greats. What else is going on? I'm wearing a 𝘗 shirt today. I don't know why I felt the need to mention that, but I am, because I talked about Invader Zim a couple weeks ago, and I just decided to. It takes me back, makes me nostalgic. I guess it's Snoopy's birthday today from Peanuts, so that's pretty cool. Happy birthday, Snoopy. I bought Captain Marvel shoes. They came in last week, and they're really cool, so check me out around campus this semester with my Captain Marvel kicks. And also I bought a Taika Waititi pop figure. It's my new prized possession. I love that guy. I took a picture of it and posted it on Instagram, and I made the caption one of his tweets, which is, what was it? You've all been waiting for Jesus to come back when I've been here all along. I love him. He directed Thor Ragnarok, which is my favorite Marvel movie, and I love Taika Waititi. I haven't seen any of his other movies, though. He does like independent movies and stuff, so maybe he'll hire Mark Ruffalo after they kill the Hulk. Who knows? Because Mark Ruffalo does a bunch of independent films. So yeah, now I have a pop figure of him, which is pretty cool. Yesterday, I spent the Wednesday and Thursday with my best friend Rosa, who came back from FSU. She's kind of like on a mini vacation with her family, and that was kind of the tail end of it. They picked me up and took me to Orlando to their villa, and we hung out there for a while. We drove in the rain first of all, so that it was hella storming. So we watched Captain America on the way, and then we finished at the villa, and then we watched the Incredible Hulk movie with Edward Norton, and then I have Infinity War on a flash drive, so we watched that and fell asleep watching it, and it was really fun. It was really chill. I slept on a futon. And then they had in the morning they have this huge water park there at the resort, and so it's like shipwrecked themed, so we went around on the lazy river a couple times. It was just fun. They were playing the hits of the 80s there, so it was really awesome. I was singing and floating. I slipped in the lazy river and I got my hair wet, which was kind of not fun, but it made Rosa and her brother laugh. And then later that day, we went to the Orlando Science Museum to that Heroes exhibit, which was tons of fun. It was really interactive, like I was predicting. Not too kiddie. There was stuff for everybody. And I took a picture with the Hulk, and then we checked out. We got into the other exhibits there. They had like a exhibit about the world, which was really cool, talking about the weather and like the different layers of the atmosphere, if you're into that. And they had a tiny little dinosaur exhibit, like typical museum. It had like Tyrannosaurus Rex bones and stuff, and like stuff from the Ice Age, and it was really cute. And they had like on the bottom floor they had like alligators chilling and a bunch of different reptiles and snakes, and it was really fun. So check out the Orlando Science Museum if you're in Orlando. Check out the superhero exhibit. And oh yeah, another thing, people, I don't know about where you guys are listening from, but in Hillsborough County, students go back to school today. HCC is not part of Hillsborough County Public Schools. They're like separate, I believe. So I don't go back to school for a couple of weeks. The universities and all the colleges are different, but like the elementary and middle school and high schoolers go back to school today. So my sister's going to school today. So for those of you going to school, I have some songs here for you today that I'm going to play during our music break. And then when we get back, I'm going to talk a little bit about Jurassic Park, because I like dinosaurs and I just watched Jurassic Park a couple weeks ago, I guess it's been now. I watched it for the first time. It was on TV, and all three of them are on Netflix, which is cool. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about Winnie the Pooh. I haven't seen Christopher Robin yet, but Jim Cummings is all over my Facebook and all over my news feeds and stuff, and he's great. He plays Winnie the Pooh and Tigger. So we're going to talk about that, and then I'm going to wrap things up for the last time here at Emily's Playhouse. So all that when we get back. This is a song by the Naked Brothers Band called I Don't Want to Go to School. The Naked Brothers Band consists of Alex Wolf and Nat Wolf. You might know them from more independent films. So yeah, this is their song back when they were a band on Nickelodeon called I Don't Want to Go to School. Fitting. That was I Don't Want to Go to School by the Naked Brothers Band. I've forgotten how angsty they were back in the day, but you know, they're great. I miss them. You're listening to Emily's Playhouse on Hawk Radio. Continuing on with this music break, this is Back to School Again from Grease 2. It is by the Four Tops, who I believe Levi Stubbs is in that band, or formerly. And when we get back, we're going to talk about some dinosaurs, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Emily's Playhouse on Hawk Radio. That was Back to School Again by the Four Tops. So my thoughts are with you if you went back to school this week or next week. I don't know when I go back to school, like the 20th. 10 days from now. That's more than a week, so ha 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 ha. During this segment, I'm going to talk briefly about Jurassic Park because I have a confession. I had never seen it before a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I don't know why. I'd seen E.T. and like a bunch of other like Steven Spielberg stuff, but I'd never seen Jurassic Park, and I don't know why. I have no excuse. My excuse is that they never show it on TV, and then Jurassic World was like hype for a little bit, and then they showed it, and yeah. So, but they're all on Netflix now, so like that was kind of like the Kickstarter. So Jurassic Park is a 1993 American sci-fi adventure film directed by Spielberg, the first installment in the Jurassic Park franchise. There's 3 of them, not including Jurassic World 1 and 2, which I have no idea because I've not seen those yet. Chris Pratt is in them, but I have no idea how they're connected to the original. I think it's just they rebuilt the theme park, and it's like, what if this were right? Like, what if they did good or something like that? That's kind of all I know about it, and there's a lot of memes, so my extent of Jurassic World knowledge is the memes. So But yeah, Jurassic Park, I feel like I got the gist of it without seeing it, you know. But yeah, it's based on a 1990 novel of the same name by Michael, I don't even know how to say his name, Crichton. The film is set on the fictional island of 𝘰𝘂𝘪𝘭𝘰. I am saying that wrong probably. Please don't send me hate. It's my last show. Is 𝘂𝘪𝘭𝘰 or 𝘰𝘂𝘪𝘭𝘰? They probably say it in the movie, but I am not very observant. I'm not a good listener. It is located off of Central America's Pacific coast near Costa Rica, supposedly, where billionaire philanthropist John Hammond and a small team of genetic scientists have created a wildlife park of cloned dinosaurs. When industrial sabotage by Newman from that one show leads to a catastrophic shutdown of the park's power facilities and security precautions, a small group of visitors, along with Hammond's grandchildren, struggle to survive and escape the perilous island. I regret not watching it sooner because it is a really good movie. I have not gotten sick of it yet. That's my thing. I don't get sick of watching movies very much. But yeah. Sam Neill is Dr. Alan Grant. Laura Dern is Dr. Ellie Sattler. Jeff Goldblum, our favorite, is Dr. Ian Malcolm. Richard Attenborough, I believe he's a director, is John Hammond. Who else? B.D. Wong is in it. He plays Shang in Mulan. He's somebody. And apparently he's the only guy who carries over from the originals to Jurassic World, except for the Jeff Goldblum cameo in the new one. Joseph Mazzello is Tim Murphy. Ariana Richards is Lex Murphy. Samuel L. Jackson is in this movie somehow. I don't recall seeing him because I've seen it like 3 times and I'm not very observant again. But he's in like every franchise. Like he plays Nick Fury. He plays Mace. What is his name? Yondu or something? No, Yondu. Windu. He plays Mace Windu in Star Wars, and he plays this guy in Jurassic Park. So Samuel L. Jackson, for all your black guy needs, is in every franchise, and I love him. And Wayne Knight, the guy who plays Newman, and he's in Space Jam, and he was in Tarzan, which I watched the other day, is the guy who shuts down all the dinosaur habitats or unlocks them or whatever. And yeah, he's that guy. And then, spoiler alert, he gets killed. So, ha 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 ha, sucks for you. I was gonna say something about it. I forget. It was a phenomenon when it came out because of the CGI. They were originally gonna use claymation, but instead they decided to do guys in like suits and also CGI. Which is pretty cool. It's a pretty high grossing movie. I know Steven Spielberg was doing like a bunch of different stuff in the 90s. Like he was doing Schindler's List at the same time, and he just finished Hook, and he was also doing that animation stuff. Animaniacs came out in 1993, and that was him. So yeah, but before the book version was even published, this is what I was going to talk about. Before the book was even published, before the guy, Michael whatever, was even finished writing it, 4 different studios had bid for its film rights. Like it was that, they were expecting it to be that good of a movie. But Universal eventually got it, Spielberg, and yeah. And then when he wanted a second one, and he wasn't gonna give it to him unless it was Spielberg, and this guy, like, they wrote it for each other or something like that, like exclusively. Like he wasn't going to write a sequel in the first place, but if he did, it's Spielberg's. So that's pretty cool. It's a really good franchise. The second one is all Jeff Goldblum, 24/7. And the third one is, I like it better than the second one in my opinion. The first one is God tier, but if we're talking sequels, then I like the third one better than the second one. And it's about Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler, Laura Dern and Sam Neill. It's that they're back and they're on like the sister island or whatever. And yeah, it's pretty cool. And I like the whole concept, like getting dinosaur DNA from the mosquitoes preserved in amber and stuff. Like that's like valid. Like they could actually do that. I feel like if the DNA wasn't too messed up, they could totally do that. And I mean, can you imagine how cool Dinosaur World and Plant City would be if they had live dinosaurs? I live in Plant City, so yeah, we got Dinosaur World, but they're not alive. There's no edible goats or death, I don't think. If there is death, there's not very many. Don't quote me on that. I I'm not affiliated with Dinosaur World. But yeah. So they have a whole theme exhibit at Universal too, so that's pretty cool. I have not stepped foot in there because last time I was at Universal, it was either closed or I was too busy crying over something. I don't remember, but we just didn't get into Jurassic Park exhibit at our theme world at Universal Studios. Speaking of Universal Studios, hand over the rights to Hulk and Spider-Man. I can't say it enough. Please give it to Marvel so we can get our Mark Ruffalo Hulk solo movie. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about Jurassic Park. I was going to play the theme song, but I'm not because it's really long and I don't know when the whole da-da-da-da-da kicks in because it's probably like 16 minutes long because it's John Williams. And but you know the song, so pretend I'm playing it right now. Instead of that, I have a song it's a cover by Queen Latifah that I'm going to play for you guys called Walk the Dinosaur. It's from an Ice Age movie, which is similar to Jurassic Park, except not really. And then when we come back, I'm going to talk about Winnie the Pooh. I don't think I have any spoilers for Christopher Robin because I haven't seen it, so if I spoil it, then I'm spoiling it for the both of us. So, I mean, we're all in this together, so it's okay. So, yeah, stay tuned. We'll be right back after these brief messages from Queen Latifah. Welcome back to Emily's Playhouse. That was the intro to the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, also known as the greatest iteration of Winnie the Pooh there is. Oh man, that just took me back. Like, I'm like shaking right now. That was so nostalgic for me. I grew up on that show. And it was one of the, if not the first time Jim Cummings had voiced Winnie the Pooh. He took over for the original Sterling Holloway and the original Tigger, Paul Winchell. So I have a little article here from LA Times. Classic Hollywood. For 30 years, Jim Cummings has brought Winnie the Pooh to life. We love Jim Cummings. I met him in like 2014, 2015 at MegaCon Orlando, and he was great. He's a sweetheart. He is a dad, not a daddy, a dad. And I don't know, he's always carrying drumsticks, and he's a great guy. We love Jim Cummings. He's a vet of voice acting, so he knows his stuff. So this article says, like many baby boomers, Jim Cummings grew up watching Saturday morning cartoons, which led the Youngstown, Ohio native to decide at an early age that he wanted to become a voiceover actor. But his initial audience in grade school wasn't happy with his early career choice. I was the guy doing dolphin voices, said the 65-year-old Cummings, adding that the teachers would often scold him. We don't have dolphins in Youngstown, Mr. Cummings. The Annie Award-winning actor has come a long way since his dolphin days. For the past 3 decades, Cummings has voiced some 400 roles, including the title character from Darkwing Duck, Ed Gopher and the singing voice of Scar in The Lion King, and Kaa, Colonel, and MC Monkey in The Jungle Book 2. So he does a bunch of like stock voices and stuff, like background voices. You'd know his voice if you heard it, but yeah, Darkwing Duck is a big one. He does Pete from like the the Mickey cartoons and stuff, and Winnie the Pooh is the big one. So Cummings is best known, though, that's what I just said, for being the voice of A.A. Milne's beloved Winnie the Pooh and Tigger for the past 30 years. The late Sterling Holloway and Paul Winchell originated the voices for Pooh and Tigger, respectively. His latest appearance as the bear with a very little brain and the bouncy-trouncy feline is in the live-action Christopher Robin, which opened in theaters last Friday, earning mostly favorable reviews and $25 million in its opening weekend. Directed by Mark Forster from Finding Neverland, the fantasy film finds Pooh and the gang from the 100-acre wood reuniting with a grown-up Christopher Robin, played by Ewan McGregor, also known as Obi-Wan Kenobi, who has lost his way in the world. LA Times film critic Justin Chang called it a sweetly amusing concoction, adding that Cummings was a gifted voiceover artist. A few days before the film opened, the use of Cummings, who often spontaneously breaks out into Pooh and Tigger voices, sat down for an interview at the Walt Disney Studios. I'll just read a couple of questions here. Why do you think Pooh, Tigger, and Piglet, Eeyore, and the gang are still so popular? Jim Cummings says, I've had years to ponder this. My experience is there's a certain, I'm going to call it pipeline to your own childhood. It doesn't matter your age, because when a 5-year-old is a 5-year-old, they're a 5-year-old. And when you're 85, you have a pipeline back to you being a 5-year-old. Then you're a 5-year-old again. Make sense? It's kind of like Christmas or New Year's or Thanksgiving. You never get tired of it. It's something that gets you in touch with your own joy and your own innocence and your own time of white-eyed wonder. That's not going anywhere. That never goes anywhere. So, did you record your lines before the film was shot? I certainly knew the story and the storyboards. They walked me all through the 100-acre wood. I was actually in the shop where they were sewing the characters together. That was in London. At some point, we had a marathon session of recording when I recorded, basically, the movie, the whole thing. They did that with everyone. Then they had the recordings to work on set so that 𝘊𝘁𝘁𝑎𝑡well, who plays Robin's wife, and Bronte Carmichael, who plays Robin's daughter, weren't just flying blind, so to speak, or flying deaf. So after the film was completed shooting, did you re-record Pooh and Tigger? Then at that point, you put in the characters and do the fine-tuning. We kind of changed the dialogue here and there to tweak it and get laughs that weren't there. You got to know Paul Winchell, the famed ventriloquist, who was the original voice of Tigger. In fact, he split the role for the first year and a half for the animated 1988-91 TV series The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. I just played the theme song from that. I loved watching him and his dummy, Jerry Mahoney, on TV when I was a kid. Me too, Jerry Mahoney was cool, but when his whole head would spin around, it freaked me out. I was like 4. I'd ask, can you tuck me in again, Mom? Because I was pretty sure that Jerry Mahoney was underneath my nightstand doing the head spin thing. That was his, the original voice of Tigger was a ventriloquist, and that was his dummy. So I told that to Paul, and he laughed. He goes, boy, if I had a nickel for everybody that told me something like that. Paul talking sort of sounded like Tigger. So did Sterling Holloway, who was the original voice of Pooh. He wasn't even doing the character. That was just him talking. He wasn't even putting on an affectation. That was him. But it worked so well for the character. I've often said that his voice reminded me of a gentle breeze blowing through the cattails. Did you ever meet Holloway before he died in 1992? Before I was in the business, I was down with my wife in Laguna Beach. He had retired and lived down there. We were getting a late lunch in a hotel diner, and nobody was there. We see the waitress walk over to the corner booth. She said, well, have we decided what we're going to have now? We heard this little voice. Well, I believe I will have the chowder. It sounded just like Winnie the Pooh. I got up, and there was Sterling Holloway sitting there with all this spray of white hair. He looked like an albino cow. God, I love him. So, though Pooh and Tigger are based on Holloway and Winchell's originals, are you able to bring your own touches to the roles? And Jim Cummings says, you can't help but do so. You don't want to sound like you're stuck in parade mode. I've developed something in my head called Pooh logic. It's really embodied by lines like, I always get to where I'm going by walking away from where I've been. It's like a Zen approach. Pooh is kind of like the Chauncey Gardner character from Being There. There's a little Forrest Gump attitude. There would be a hurricane going on all around him, but it doesn't affect him because he's the eye of the hurricane. He sees the world through honey-colored glasses. So if Pooh is the eye of the hurricane, what is Tigger? Tigger is the hurricane. That's a great interview. That's awesome. Yeah, Jim Cummings is all over my news feed lately because of this movie, and it's great because voice actors like who do this like professionally, not just celebrities who do voiceover, like on-screen celebrities who do voiceover, but actual people who make their living doing voiceover exclusively, they don't get a lot of credit as much as the on-camera actors when they do that. Like we love Robin Williams as the genie, but that was kind of the thing. That was kind of the thing that started like, hey, on-screen celebrities can do this too. So they kind of, I don't want to say they took their jobs from them, but they kind of did. But we love them. We love them too. And it's a hard business, and we appreciate that. But I mean, it's even harder for people who do it for a living, and their jobs are getting stolen, quote unquote, from people who are arguably more famous than them. Like their face is more recognized, not necessarily more famous, because I mean everybody knows Winnie the Pooh. But I'm happy for him because he's all over the news and people are interviewing him and they just are loving his performance. I haven't seen Christopher Robin yet, but it looks sad. I heard it was sad, but people are saying that it's Oscar worthy, and that's insane. Like, can you imagine if he wins an Oscar? So cross your fingers and get your hopes up, because I mean that would be amazing if Jim Cummings got an Oscar for Winnie the Pooh finally after 3 decades, right? He has Annie Awards and stuff, but I mean an Oscar. It's like, wow, crazy. And maybe he would get an EGOT. Who knows? I think he's a singer, right? Like, he could get a Grammy, and obviously television. If Winnie the Pooh, I'm surprised. Does Winnie the Pooh have an Emmy? Maybe he has an Emmy. And what's the other one? Tony. I don't know if he's done Broadway, so maybe just an ego. He can get an ego. Anyway, here's another Winnie the Pooh theme song. And when we get back, I'm kind of going to wrap things up, I think, because we're coming down to the line here, folks. So enjoy this moment while it lasts. Here's Winnie the Pooh. Welcome back to Emily's Playhouse. I am Emily. This is the very last episode of Emily's Playhouse. It's the last time I'm going to be on the radio for a while, I think. And I just want to kind of reflect on my time here in RTV 1941. If you would like your own radio internship to do what I am doing currently, come to HCC Ybor and enroll in RTV 1941. It's a ton of fun, super hands-on, and the professors are great. It's all great. It's great fun. You can play whatever songs you want. Like I just played Kenny Loggins, or I think that's Kenny Loggins, right? Yeah, I just played that, and that was all me. So sometimes I play My Chemical Romance. That's me too. So yeah, I just looking back at the first episode at the beginning of the summer. Des was on Roman the King. He has the show before me, and he was great enough to kind of sit in with me because this is my first time doing a solo cast. I had a class last semester in the spring semester that was me and 3 other guys, 𝘊𝘂𝘃𝘃𝘃𝘃𝑗𝑡𝑠, and we did that show. So it was great having a group, and then I just kind of got thrown in here doing it by myself. So Des was great. We talked about Iron Man a little bit and how he looks like Walt Disney. Howard Stark, how he looks like Walt Disney. Some of the similarities besides looks, I mean, he has that like weird little mustache.
His face is kind of plump.
Mm-hmm. When he's presenting the plot of the expo, Stark Expo, it's like laid out a lot like the World Fair in 1964, which is where Walt Disney went to like pitch all these ideas for like Small World and Carousel of Progress and all that stuff. So I thought,
in case you guys didn't know, she's got pictures and a whole article.
Oh yeah, I do. There's a whole thing. Doesn't that look like where they were in the movie? The Globe?
I could see the similarities. Totally, yeah.
Yeah, that's the New York Pavilion, and that's the Unisphere. But also, what else? When he's pitching it kind of like Walt Disney did, like the actual physically pitching it. He's pitching it kind of like Walt Disney pitched Epcot, like the world of tomorrow and everything, you know? So. Well,
it maybe that whole performance was inspired by how Walt Disney pitched that, you know. You never know, because you may be like, that would be something to look into. Like you go on, like find an article, and you're like, oh, he actually did, you know, mirror his pitch off of Walt Disney. That's what they have to. I don't know. I don't think it's just a coincidence, but yeah, I thought it was really cool. I had something else to say. Freaking Epcot. Richard Sherman had a song that was playing in the beginning, and the Sherman brothers obviously wrote all the music for like the Figment ride and Mary Poppins. Yeah, total coincidence. But that's what I was gonna say. This was right 6 months before they were saying in this article. This was like 6 months right before Marvel or Disney bought Marvel, and not a lot of people, like, it was kind of like shocking. Like, not a lot of people, like maybe 6 people from Disney and 6 people from Marvel knew that they were gonna do that. So I mean, I don't know how the director of this movie, Jon Favreau, I don't know how he would have known and like said, hey, let's make this character. Yeah, like Disney owns everything now. Yeah. So. But I mean, honestly, it could, you know, there may be. I'm pretty sure there is a correlation between, you know, Disney buying Marvel and then the whole Stark Expo. His daddy is Walt Disney. Yeah, I mean, that would be something to look into. If it is true, then that is very that's a lot of symbolism there. Throwback. And yeah, he was great to sit in. He just had his last episode today too. So, but check him out. And all his future endeavors on social media. This has been a great outlet to kind of explore and discuss what I love and what I don't love about Marvel movies, because I got into that around the same time I was starting this show in May, right after Infinity War came out, because if I remember correctly, my last episode of 𝘊𝘂𝘃𝘃𝘃𝑗𝘡𝑠 was talking about Infinity War, and I had no idea what I was talking about. And yeah, so I've kind of this is a great outlet for you guys to listen and share what you think about just different aspects of Marvel. Like we talked about a lot about the Hulk, because I think he's a very dynamic character. I'm not a fan of it, and on Bruce Banner's part, I don't know. He has all these relationships with, I mean, not like
romantic, but like all these relationships with everybody else, and it's cool to see how he interacts with everybody as Bruce, and how the Hulk's relationships, because there's like they're almost like two separate people just sharing the same body, you know, which is pretty cool. I'm a fan of him and Tony Stark's relationship because they're science brothers, you know, they got that going on for them. But I don't know what all they have in common aside from him, I mean, that being him and Black Widow. I don't know what all they have in common. Like, I mean, she can't have kids for some reason. She was sterilized. We see, and that's one of the things we do know about her, that she can't have kids. I don't know if she wants any. I think she does, because most of Age of Ultron is set at Clint Barton's house. They're like, it's a safe house, like in the middle of nowhere, and his pregnant wife is there, and he has like 2 or 3 kids, and all the Avengers are like, oh, they got baby fever. But yeah, and Bruce, I think he can have kids, but he does in the comics, but he is afraid of, you know, hulking out. Like, there's no control there. He doesn't, at this point in the MCU, he doesn't have all that control over it. And yeah, he just doesn't want to hurt anybody, and he doesn't want to risk having like mutant kids and stuff like that. So that's kind of where it's at. And I feel like I don't know, she obviously helps him turn back into Bruce Banner and calms him down, but I feel like he could find another way, you know. He doesn't have to rely on a girl to do that. And I don't know, it's kind of like Pepper and Tony in the way that he has anxiety and she kind of keeps him grounded and level-headed. But I don't know, I feel like this is different. I don't know, I don't want to see Bruce Banner with somebody. He's a lot older too. And it's just a great outlet. I don't get to see a lot of people very often, so this is a great way for me to connect with you guys and figure out all the dorky stuff we agree and disagree on. And it's just I like it a lot. I'm glad we did it. Some of my favorite moments obviously was when my friend Olivia came on and we played Guess the Marvel score, and she did really well. She guessed the score to Winter Soldier like immediately. Like, it was just dead silence. She was like, "Oh, this is obviously Bucky." But here's the last one.
Go for it. I'm so excited.
Good luck. Dead silence.
Oh, I love it. I mean, I already know it's my man's. It's my man's Bucky Barnes.
There's nothing happening yet.
I already know
How
it.
do you know?
Because I listened to this one for fun. Like, that's his theme. It's just creepy me. No, wait, shush. I have to listen to it. Let me no, shush.
That's Bucky?
Oh, I love my man's Bucky Barnes.
How do you know that's Bucky?
I know that's the music that plays anytime he comes on screen as the Winter Soldier. I'm not kidding. Every single time he comes on stage, on stage. When you're theater. When you're a theater kid. But that's what plays every time he's on screen.
Can you imagine being a superhero and your theme song is
Leave him alone. He's a legend. This was when he was a villain, so it's fair. Oh, I love it so much. Like, why do I listen to this for fun? But it's so good. I love how it was like dead silence and like a little bit of noise, and I was like, well, that's obviously my man's Bucky Barnes.
Obviously Bucky, duh.
I was like, obviously that's my man.
I hate you for that.
You should.
We're done listening to it.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
You can listen to it on your own time. I'm gonna get sued by Marvel if I play anymore.
Oh, for real? Probably.
I don't know. But yeah, that was fun, and I'm glad.
You just play that song 10 times next time.
Yeah.
I'm like, Bucky. That's my man.
I can't believe you got that. I'm pissed.
You should be.
And then the following week, when my family was on, my cousins Ben and Leanne, and Leanne's fiance Parker, and my sister Kristen was here, and later on that day, we were having some bad luck that day, so I'm really glad. I think the best part of the day was the fact that they got to see me on my show, so I'm really happy they did that. And I think if you ask any of us, we all agree that it was like our godsend, a saving grace that we got to share this time together, because I don't get to see them often either, because they live in Oklahoma, and they're adults, they're busy, they got adult things going on, so we don't talk as much as we used to when they lived down here. So they surprised me by coming down here and being on my show and talking about Ant-Man with me when it just came out.
Really excited.
What do you think of Ant-Man? He's not my favorite superhero.
Well, see,
but
I like Hank, or not, excuse me, I like Scott Lang.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge fan of Hank Pym, mainly just because, you know, it's like, he's pretty messed up if you read the comics and stuff, but Scott Lang is like still kind of messed up, right, Parker? Like,
yeah, I mean, yeah, he's problematic in some ways, but
yeah. I mean, just the idea for, like, you know, like the Pym particles and stuff, where you can, like, you know, where something I actually read, which was pretty interesting to me,
Mm-hmm.
was that I'm sorry, I'm like
No, go for it.
it's like I'm just like kind of like going in and
Fangirling?
out of the mic, yeah. But no, it's I guess like it shrinks the atoms
Yeah.
or like the space around the atoms so that things compress, but it's like it doesn't take away anything from the mass, I guess. So it's like if you were to shrink a van, the van would be like it would weigh the same.
Yeah.
It's just smaller.
Yeah.
So
No spoilers, but they used a lot of cars in the
I saw that in the
second
trailer.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, like they were driving the van and then like pressed a button.
Yeah, so it's really cool. They used a lot. They shrunk more stuff than just him, and it was really cool. Really cool. You haven't seen it yet either, obviously.
I have not. I do like Ant-Man. I think he brings like a welcome change in tone sometimes, at least in the last Ant-Man movie. It was nice to pull away from like the
Civil
overall
War.
universe and just see like a man.
Did the
learning
first
how to talk
Ant-Man
to
come
ants.
out before Civil War or after?
Yes, yeah, because remember, like Hawkeye pulls Ant-Man out of
Yeah.
the van. He's like, "Hey, this guy's ready to go." Ha, ha, ha,
Yeah.
ha. Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, I don't know. I felt like we needed it because it's kind of a filler movie, obviously, after Infinity War. But I feel like it's necessary because, like, ooh, Infinity War.
So how was was it good? Was it better than the first one? Was it just like, man? Like,
It's about the same. It
Yeah.
had some like aspects of the first one. It's Marvel. It's good. But yeah, like the last like couple minutes of it and the end credit scenes. Oh my god.
was it like?
Yes.
Oh man. All right,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it was.
Leanne, do you know anything about Marvel?
I do not know anything about Marvel.
As of like a month ago, I didn't either, so it's okay.
I will tell you, it just popped up on my news feed that if you go to Disney Springs this weekend, they are celebrating Ant-Man and the Wasp at
Hey.
the Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar.
Yeah, they have like Ant-Man related foods and stuff.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you can get like the big, huge burgers. They've like got like super big and large items, like a huge like whole plate sized burger, and like big pretzels and like little baby
Tiny-
empanadas, like a little tiny.
Little baby.
And oh man, that was a great episode. Look back at that episode if you haven't, because there's just so much love in that episode, and that was just the highlight of our day. So, but yeah, I thought I would do my last ever Mark Ruffalo "Are You Listening" segment today. Mark Ruffalo, if you're listening, we miss you on social media. I don't know if you're just taking a break because you need a break, or if Marvel took away your social media privileges because of the whole Ragnarok getting leaked situation. But we miss you, and we hope you come back soon on social media, especially Twitter. Not so much Tumblr, because I don't use Tumblr very much anymore. There's a lot of inappropriate stuff on Tumblr, and I don't want you to see all the inappropriate stuff on Tumblr. But Twitter's okay, I guess. And I just want you to come back. Unless you need a break, then take all the time you need. But come back soon, please. We miss you. I need you to feed my cravings or whatever. And Mark Ruffalo, if you're listening, please give Loki a bath because his hair is so greasy. I mean, he's dead now, so I mean, there's not much you could do there. But I mean, next time you see Loki, please give him a bath. Not Tom Hiddleston, but Loki, like his wig. I don't think they've washed that wig since Thor 1. And he probably has lice, so please make sure he's keeping up with his hygiene. What else do I want to say to Mark Ruffalo? Don't die, I guess. Keep advocating for the environment. Please don't let them kill off Bruce in Avengers 4. Yeah, I just want you to be happy. Yeah, that's all I really gotta say. Mark Ruffalo, if you're listening, thank you for listening. And with that, I'm going to play the All-American Rejects. This is called The Last Song, and it's the saddest song I could think of on such short notice. So we'll be right back for one last time for my closing remarks after this. Brief moment of reflection, everybody. Cutting that song off a little early, that's okay. It got me really sad. We love the All-American Rejects. But brief moment of reflection. Today we talked about Jurassic Park a little bit, and then we talked about Jim Cummings and Winnie the Pooh a little bit. Check out Christopher Robin in theaters. Check your local listings at your local movie theaters for show times. And I just want to say, since this is the last episode of Emily's Playhouse, episode 12, The Long Goodbye, I just want to say thank you to everybody who listened every week and who followed my show. I want to thank all my guests for coming in, Des and Ben and Leanne and Parker and Kristen and Olivia and everybody who helped with this show. I want to thank you for spending the summer with me and taking time out to have some fun with me for a little bit and help me get one step closer to graduating with this internship. I want to say thank you to Paul Rubens for not suing me for using his likeness in my promotional stuff, and also the name Emily's Playhouse. That's probably a violation of something, but thank you for letting me borrow it for this semester. This is not goodbye. This is just see you later. I hope to be back if I can on the radio again soon for another internship. But until then, you can listen to previous episodes of my show here, or here for like 4 weeks maybe, but here on Facebook at Emily's Playhouse on Hawk Radio, and also my YouTube channel. I think it's just Emily Ryan. Just look for it. Type in Emily's Playhouse and it'll be there. You'll find it. You're good. I'm probably going to rebrand Facebook and Twitter and Instagram again, like I did with Yeet Deets to Emily's Playhouse, to whatever my next endeavor will be. I'll probably rebrand it. Maybe I'll do a Dungeons and Dragons podcast, because I mean, you're nobody unless you have one, apparently. So yeah, I really hope I take another radio internship and I can talk to you guys again. Follow me on my regular social media: Facebook Emily Ryan, Twitter at @DankenFurter, and Instagram at @DankenFurter, and Tumblr. I think it's Dank Banner now. But follow me there to keep up with all my endeavors. Good luck in school, everybody. Check me out in Hell on Heels on Saturday nights now at the Bellagio Cinemas of Carrollwood, 11778 North Dale Mabry Highway, Tampa, Florida, 33618. Check me out there as Columbia or Trixie or a Transylvanian, or just chilling there. Sometimes I do lights, sometimes I do props. Kind of want to do Eddie. Who knows what the future holds for us. Check us out, me and my family there, if you're in the Carrollwood area on a Saturday night looking for stuff to do. And just be good. Do good in school this semester. I'm sending you all good vibes that you pass your exams and whatnot. And I promise I will talk to you again soon. So in honor of me talking about Winnie the Pooh, this was a show on Playhouse Disney, and this was the ending song. So I'm going to leave you with this song called Goodbye for Now. And just thanks again for listening. And stay tuned to Casey's Corner coming up at 2. And I will see you guys again soon. Goodbye, Emily out.